What's happening, YouTube? It's your homie S. Akuma coming back to you with another video. And today's video is the top 16 match from Gen Con 2019 a couple weeks ago, featuring two teammates, two Vector Sigma teammates facing off against each other, unfortunately, in top 16. Here to the right, we have the deck that a lot of people wanted to see, the Blaster deck that features Fire Drive to start out, and then under Blaster, as you can see, he's deploying now Ramhorn and then also Steeljaw. And then to the left, we have the Ranged Optimus deck featuring Barrage, General Optimus, and Fire Drive. So it'll be very interesting to see these two decks go at it. Two decks I definitely like going into, you know, the new Seas meta. So what happened here? First turn, Vinny, he flips Blaster to its bot mode, and what it says is you may, you play the top card of your deck. So like if you were to hit a card like Peace to Tyranny, you have to play it, but you do not have to KO your character, like I talked about in my last match. So, but he hits a very nice card here. He hits Press the Advantage, which is great, and seems like ideally he'll target down Barrage to give Barrage the -2 defense. Now, granted, General Optimus does spread tough 1 to every other character, you know, besides himself, of course. So the Barrage definitely won't get one-hit KO this turn, but this will be a very good start to the game for Vin here. So it's nice to see two decks that people wanted to definitely see a deck list for, which you can find at vectorsigma.info, by the way. Actually, you can find all the top 8 deck lists at this point, at the recording of this video, or by the time you hear this video, you'll be able to see all the top 8 deck lists that were compiled together on their page. So Fire Drive attacks. Did Vin draw a card? He may or may not draw a card. I hope he did, because it's one of the, it looks like he has about 5 cards in hand. I want to say he drew a card. So attacking for a decent amount of damage onto the Barrage. The Barrage has tough 1, flipped 1 blue, so it'll have 1 defense, and he'll probably be taking 6 damage, I want to say, maybe. I'm guessing. I didn't really see the Fire Drive flip. Kind of talking, I kind of zoned out for a second. Oh no, I apologize. He attacked the Fire Drive. Okay. Just now seeing the coins, I'm kind of just missed all that. Palmer's mat is a little weird. So the reason why Vin attacked Palmer's Fire Drive first is because Palmer sending in Barrage or General Optimus this turn just isn't ideal. Sending in Barrage definitely isn't the answer, because there's a potential the Barrage can get knocked out next turn via Press the Advantage. So if he sends the Fire Drive out on this turn, Vin knows that he'll be able to kill Palmer's Fire Drive on the next turn, which makes Palmer's Peace to Tyranny weak for the rest of the game. Not that Palmer would actually use it, but I mean, it helps to get the Fire Drive out of there and not let it stand and get another attack and get another draw. But being that Fire Drive is ranged, it is nice that he had Hovercraft for his turn, so he activates the Hovercraft. He doesn't use a flip, and he deals 1 damage to all of his opponent's characters. Now, I'm wondering why he didn't flip. The Fire Drive has 6 damage on it, so it's not in One Shall Stand range yet, because One Shall Stand and then potentially, you know, being able to get free range of the Barrage is a thing, but using your One Shall Stand as your action for the turn, you probably wouldn't be able to KO the Barrage anyway. So curious to see why he didn't do a flip. Maybe I guess the flips in his deck aren't as big of a deal, because on this next turn he could just simply flip the Barrage and then still have the bold 1 from the General Optimus. General Optimus you definitely don't flip till he attacks, so he can spread that tough and bold 1. So we see Vin here flip the Blaster back to alt mode so he can get set up to get the next character out, the Steeljaw. Playing the Zap on the General Optimus, plays a static Laser of Ironhide on Ramhorn. And what's nice about this is the Ramhorn takes 2 damage, but the Ramhorn still has, 6 damage left. So it's built-in bolster effect. What Ramhorn says, when this defends, you may play a white armor. So you're able to play a white armor on any of your characters, but, you know, even if Barrage or whoever Palmer decides to attack with goes after the Ramhorn next turn, the Ramhorn can trigger and play a force field and save itself and only have 4 damage dealt to it. So the Fire Drive is killed this turn, and Palmer decides to put the Fire Drive on Barrage. He's flipping Barrage. Both of the characters on Vin's field that are able to be attacked are both damaged, so Barrage will have a total of bold 3. Bold 2 from himself, and then bold 1 that the General Optimus passes over rather. So 8 attack, bold 3 is very strong, but at the same time it's going to be like pretty much a wasted attack. And yeah, he doesn't even activate an action or upgrade because he doesn't need anything to boost. And just what I was talking about last turn, or to boost in order to kill his characters rather. So he has the 8 bold 3 going into a Ramhorn that has a force field plate on it due to Ramhorn's ability. So what that means now is Palmer will have to waste more resources on getting rid of the ram horn. Now the ram horn does have, what is that, 8 damage? Or no, it has 9 damage. So if he has another arm hovercraft or even marksmanship, he can get rid of it with direct damage. And this is one thing I've been talking about a lot lately. I'm really harping on direct damage. If you're not playing any direct damage in some sort, you're missing out, because like I said, in this situation right here, if you're not playing direct damage, you would have to go waste an entire other attack into that ram horn, which I'm sure Vin is fine with at that point. So he has another force field Vin here. He flips the blaster back to bot mode, which is able to trigger its field communicator like effect again, and he hits a force field, which is nice. So getting a free force field and not even activating an action or an upgrade for this turn is very strong. Plays another static laser on Ironhide, press the advantage on the barrage, and it looks like he's going for a kill here. The Steeljaw is coming in at 8 attack, bold 1, 10 attack, 12 attack, and he just got there. It's just enough to KO the barrage. Now barrage in bot mode has 1 defense versus alt mode having 2 defense. What press the advantage does is it takes away, -2 defense on the Decepticon character. Now since the barrage only has 1 defense, it'll go down to 0, but once he flips another blue, it will still take that away as well. So the press the advantage looks for the -2 at the end of the opponent's defensive flips. So it's General Optimus versus the world right now. As he said in the movie, I'll take you all on, and that's exactly what he has to do right now, take on every character. So we'll see how Palmer comes out of this, if he can come out of this. Bash and Shield, that's a good start. Get rid of the force field on the Steeljaw, so he can just get rid of the Steeljaw. Seems like the most viable target to attack, and that's what he does. Well, I take that back. It may or may not. He actually, you know what? I sit here and think about it. If Vin happens to have Peace Through Tyranny, that's going to be very strong for this turn. Palmer may have needed to attack the fire drive, so Vin doesn't use Peace Through Tyranny. And then looking at Vin's hand as he's shuffling, he doesn't have it. So maybe Palmer saw all 3 Peace Through Tyrannies go earlier, but it's just really dangerous. Let's say all Peace Through Tyrannies weren't gone. Peace Through Tyranny, his only viable targets right now are, well, in general, this first match is fire drive and blaster. So having Peace Through Tyranny for the fire drive this turn while the Optimus is tapped means Blaster gets to attack into Optimus, then everyone stands, and then Blaster gets to attack again. But again, it doesn't look like Vin has it, so Palmer's not in too bad of shape at the moment. Well, not too bad of shape in terms of losing this turn at least, but he still is at a disadvantage because even when everybody stands, he could send his General Optimus into Blaster, but the problem is he might not KO the Blaster. So that might be an issue. And then if he doesn't KO the Blaster, then Vin definitely gets 3 attacks. So Palmer has a big decision to make this turn. This is going to be a big turn for him. He needs possibly some direct damage too. If he can get some direct damage, potentially, and kill the... Well, I don't even know who he would kill. This is just a tough position no matter what. Because the fire drive's not even... If I'm looking at the dice correctly, the fire drive's not even in one-shot stand range. So, miscalculated the damage. Took one too many. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this pans out. Keep in mind, Vin went first in this game, so this is the board state of the Blaster deck going first. So it seems like Blaster took less damage because, of course, he was able to send Fire Drive in first, and that's a big deal. Flipping Blaster to deploy a bot and then playing a card off the top, then you send in Fire Drive. They're not able to get at Blaster for a while, so definitely a deck that seems to be better going first. And okay, big hit here. He's going to take 3 damage at the end of the turn, but the Blaster looks like it's definitely going to be out of there. With +8 attack, being a 14 base prior to flips. I want to say the Blaster's definitely gone. And actually, yeah, the Blaster also had 0 defense from the Erratic Lightning, so... Now it's up to the 2 little guys. If the 2 little guys can get there this turn. If not, Palmer has a chance to potentially have like a marksmanship or arm hovercraft to kill one of the characters and then attack the other one for game. So... see if Vin can get there this turn. I feel like he will personally, because Palmer's deck is still heavily orange, so he's got to hope to flip. I mean, the Optimus does have focus, which is nice. So if you flip it, if there's an orange on, what focus does is, for people that don't know, when your character is battling, you may look at the top card of your deck. So for focus 1, you look at only 1 card, and obviously for tough 3, for focus 3, you would look at the top 3 cards of your deck. So for focus 1, you look at the top card of your deck, you may scrap it. So what you would do is on attack, you would look at the top card of your deck. If it's blue, you would scrap it. If it's a no icon card, you would scrap it. And vice versa. On defense, if you see an orange on top, you'll scrap it to hopefully hit some blues. So Ben is actually in a weird position though here. Actually, the fire drive, now that I'm looking at it, he played confidence, discarded 2 cards. He's thinking about another action to play. The Steeljaw, when the Steeljaw attacks, it'll actually be KO'd because of the static laser or Ironhide, because the Steeljaw actually has 9 damage on it. I just realized that. So it's up to fire drive unless Vin has another weapon to play. But honestly, I feel like if he had another weapon, he would have played it a little bit faster. I feel like some moves where you're like confident, you know exactly what you want to do, but he seems to be calculating because he's worried that fire drive might not get there. So the Optimus, looking at the pennies on the table, they're kind of camouflaging the Palmer's mat, kind of hard to see, but it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4. That can't be 14 damage. I don't know. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens. So 1-shot stand, 1-shot fall. That was a very important 1-shot stand, 1-shot fall. The fact that the fire drive wasn't at 7 and it was at 6 means that it still lived with the 1-shot stand and effectively put 3 damage on to Optimus, which is very strong to help Vin get closer to KOing the Optimus. So 12. Okay, looks like the Optimus is at 12. And the fire drive is going to attack. I don't know if he drew a card. I think he should have, but so he's at 6. Optimus needs 1 more flip, so the Optimus is currently at 4. If he flips a blue, he lives. If not, flip the orange. That sucks. The power of 1. The power of 1. He needed 1 blue, and he would have lived. And the Steeljaw would have been forced to attack because you have to attack with all your characters. Steeljaw would have killed itself, so then that would have ended everything. And then, of course, we stand, and Optimus definitely would have KO'd the fire drive. So that's unfortunate, but that's the variance. What can you do? I know it's funny sometimes when, like, your opponent needs 1 more flip and it needs to be an orange or it needs to be a blue. I personally won't cut their deck. I tell them to seal their own fate. So if they get there, they get there. If they don't, they're like, oh, well, you sealed your own fate. So getting into some side decking here. So that was an interesting first game. So it seems like, especially decks that play fire drive, you want to go first. Now, something I want to make a separate video about, which I still plan on doing to give another visual, is to, again, talk about any deck that is aided by Battle Master. Don't be scared to attack the Battle Master. Don't be scared to KO Lionizer, especially like with my card deck. With my card deck, I felt like it was very strong to use. I say this now, and this is not something that I did in my top 8 match, which you'll be seeing here soon. But I had a different agenda and just hoped that he didn't have Peace to Tyranny, which he did. But anyway, so I would use my B. Since I'm playing cards, if I would open up with Start Your Engines and another action, I should use my B to attack into their Lionizer. Now, especially let's say against like the Lionizer, Wheeljack, Cliffjumper deck, what you should do is attack into the Lionizer, because they're not going to send Cliffjumper or Wheeljack in on the first turn unless they think they can definitely get the kill with one of their characters. But they're most likely not going to. And if they don't have that confidence or they don't see that they're able to get there, they're going to send their Lionizer in. And then what happens then on my next turn, I'm able to use an untap effect like Start Your Engines is the ideal, or Turbo Boosters. Play another action if I choose to off the Lieutenant B. And then, since he's untapped, I'll go send in Fire Drive. Fire Drive should kill the Lionizer because B already damaged it. And then now that makes their Peace Through Tyranny play weaker for the rest of the game. So I'll explain more about that and talk again about that in another visual in a separate video. So looking at the game here, looks like Vin is going first here. So Palmer decided to let Vin go first here again. I think the main reason for him to do that is that the Blaster deck gives him 4 characters effective totally, which means that versus Palmer's 3 characters, once he sends his 3 characters in, Vin would have 2 characters that are untapped and be able to get 2 attacks on Palmer's characters. So definitely doesn't want that, so he had Vin go first. So trading the improvised shield for a bashing shield, Vin does, and moving on to Palmer's turn, who has this fire drive damage. So again, this puts Vin next turn in a position to be able to kill the fire drive and make the press the advantage Or excuse me, press the advantage. Peace to Tyranny not as strong for the rest of the game. Nice flip here. Bold 1 flips 2 double oranges and a blue for the fire drive effect, along with the arm hovercraft, which is again nice against wider decks. So that power of 1, you know, being able to get a character 1 damage closer and 1 damage to everyone is just a very strong effect. One of my favorite cards in the game. So it flips the blaster back to alt mode to get set up for the next turn, and he's going to play Confidence here. Confidence, of course, when you start the game with all Autobots, you're able to draw 2 cards, and then if you start the game with all Autobots, you're able to play another action. Being very careful in his decision here, not moving too fast so he doesn't make a mistake. Discards an improvised shield and what looks to be a bashing shield, not 100%. Doing some math here though. Doesn't need that much to kill the fire drive, so he's doing some math, so let's see what he ends up deciding to do. Plays Supercharge in the Ram Horn, so well, it looks like the fire drive has 10 or 3 damage counters on it. So we got Field Communicator. Field Communicator plays another Confidence, which allows him to play another action. So in total, this is allowing Vin to play 4 actions this turn. 1 Confidence, and then into Supercharge, and then to another Confidence and potentially another action. But he decides not to play another action, but he does have the Supercharge for the Ram Horn, and Ram Horn is going to go in on Fire Drive. So Ram Horn has a base of 3 attack before attacking, but having the Supercharge allows him to flip 3 more battle cards during the attack, and then he also flipped the white, which will let him to flip an additional 2 cards. And Ram Horn does enough damage to get rid of the Fire Drive. And now we got Palmer here debating here where he's going to put that duo charge cannon. Now keep in mind, one of the best weapons in the deck, if not the best weapon in the deck, Optimus Prime's Ion Blaster, is of course very strong on General Prime. It can only go on General Prime anyway. But if he can draw one of those, already has one in hand, it'll be solid for General Optimus to have 8 attack and 3 defense. So we'll see exactly why the cannon is on the barrage. At any given time, the barrage, when the barrage attacks, every single one of Vin's characters are damaged. So barrage's effect will trigger for the rest of this game. Alright, got Palmer pondering his next move. Alright, to the side in here. Gotta be very cautious. You know, we're in the top 16 here, so taking a little bit more time than normal, I'm sure, to make sure you make the correct plays. Potentially flipping Optimus. I think one thing Palmer is thinking about here is, now first of all, he put the dual charge cannon on Barrage, and him sending Barrage in, there's a potential that Blaster can kill the Barrage, so he's definitely being careful here. And Blaster killed the Barrage via, you know, grenade launcher, press the advantage or something. So reflex circuits on the Optimus Prime. Reflex circuits, you can only put on ranged characters, but when it blocks against a melee character, it gets +2 defense, or +1, another additional defense. Okay, so flipped Optimus turn, which means that it does not give bold 1 to anyone except himself now. But he's going to attack into, not sure who he's attacking into. If he's attacking into Ram Horn, he is lucky that Vin did not have a force field for Ram Horn this turn. And there's that press advantage we were talking about, so press advantage looking real good to give to Blaster next turn. Vin also still has a character to deploy too, so he'll be able to deploy and actually maybe potentially not even attack with the Blaster still this next turn. All right, so we got the last deployment from under the blaster, flipping the steel jaw and hitting the press the advantage off the top of his deck. Very nice. So hitting the press here, he could potentially play another press the advantage from his hand because the press the advantage played off top of the deck was not his action for the turn. It was from Blaster's effect, and Blaster again of course has that mini esque field communicator effect. So just playing it for free off the top of the deck allowed Vin to potentially play another action this turn, which it looks like he's going to do. All right, looks like Vin is doing some math here. You can tell the way he's using the cards. So let's see what he ends up deciding here. All right, so making sure again, like I said earlier, make sure he makes the best move. All right, so it looks like we're throwing down an erratic lightning on the steel jaw this turn. So out the gate, the steel jaw has 8 attack with bold 1 going into the barrage. Barrage has 0 defense, so if the steel jaw can make it to 11 and Palmer also not flip any blues, the barrage is definitely gone in 1 attack. Okay, so 1 shot stand, 1 shot fall. Now, am I missing something? Why is he able to? Okay, no, never mind. That was his action for his actual action play for the turn. So 1 shot stand, 1 shot fall to set up on the Optimus to make it easier to kill in future turns. Now we're gonna have steel jaw attack into the barrage. Let's see if the barrage can survive. Palmer did in fact actually flip 2 blues. Looks like on defense. It looks like a matrix of leadership and a marksmanship. So you can effectively just take away that 2, and then barrage has the 2 health, and barrage actually does end up living here, which helps Palmer a lot. Because that, again, like I said before, it forces Vin to have either direct damage or to send another character attack into the barrage. So see how Palmer goes about his next turn. I've seen a 1 shot stand, 1 shot fall in his hand. One of my personal favorite cards. So let's see how he ends up using it for this turn. The barrage looks like it lived by 1. I see a dime out for barrage. So that means the barrage has 10 health. Or 10 damage counters on it rather. So 1 shot stand, 1 shot fall wouldn't be as effective on barrage. So could potentially use it on Optimus, but even then, doing 3 damage to Optimus at this point in the game could be dangerous. But because he can't even attack Blaster, that's the thing. So 1 shot stand, 1 shot fall doesn't seem like a card that Palmer would play this turn, but we'll see. And I'm pretty sure this match is kind of laid back. I mean, I know they're, playing top 16 here, and it's like unfortunate that they had to play each other, but they're not super on edge. They know each other. They've played tested together, I'm sure. So, it just is what it is. This is one of the unfortunate things that can happen when you have, your team all doing well, and definitely heightens the chance of running into each other. But hey, it is what it is. Friendly war. All right, Palmer still debating here. Look through Vin's scrap pile. Not sure what for. Maybe look at how many double oranges he has left. See how hard he'll hit Optimus next turn. Marksmanship. Okay, we got marksmanship on the steel jaw. So probably gonna go in and kill the steel jaw this turn. Doesn't seem ideal to attack fire. Well, I can't say it doesn't seem ideal to attack Firefly. Like I said last game, if Palmer doesn't attack Fireflight or Fire Drive rather, and Vin happens to have Peace to Tyranny, Vin will definitely get 2 very strong turns back to back. So, but Palmer decides to attack the steel jaw. I want to say. All right, looks like we're trading a card, and it looks like I caught a bashing shield, a glimpse of a bashing shield potentially that he got off of his flips. So Yep, the steel jaw's gone. Okay, I was gonna say why is steel jaw still there, but all right. So at this point in the game, Vin is a little bit out of steam, but he still has a strong turn to be had here by getting a sizable attack into the Optimus. Now Blaster seems like it'll most likely go into General Optimus no matter what, because Blaster attacking into the Barrage would be a wasted attack. I say wasted attack because yes, you get the guaranteed kill in the Barrage, but I think it might be actually more valuable to kill or to well, you know what, take that back. It might be more valuable to attack the Barrage this turn, because you know what, Barrage has 8 attack with that dual charge cannon and bold 1 or bold 2, excuse me, going into the Blaster, because the Blaster is damaged. And then if he flips Optimus back, then the Barrage will have 3. So if we can get some lucky flips as well, Blaster could be out of there potentially. So Vin actually has to consider killing the Barrage this turn, despite it being a wasted attack. What I mean about a wasted attack is Blaster has 7 attack. The most that the Barrage could flip maybe is, 2 blues or whatever. So that extra 3 is just, damage 3 too much that you did not, need to KO the character. Now 3 is a smaller number to speak on versus, other situations, but just an idea of what we call a wasted attack. So he decides to play Reckless Charge and Grenade Launcher anyway, and he's actually going to go for the kill on Optimus. There's absolutely no way he's playing those 2 cards to attack into a Barrage. So he's gonna go for broke here and attack the Optimus. I see 1 blue card, an Infiltrate from Palmer. As you can see, very, very nice flip. The 2 Peace Through Tyranny flip on the attack, and that was very strong. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Palmer gets out of this, because it looks like he's going to need direct damage. That was a very strong swing. The Blaster really got there on that Optimus. Got to 17 total. Oh, Arm Hovercraft. That's okay. Very nice. So Arm Hovercraft is great here. This is one of the best. This is one of the reasons why I love Arm Hovercraft. He got rid of the Fire Drive without having to deal damage to it. The Fire Drive needed 1 damage to be KO'd. Arm Hovercraft did that job. Hit 1 damage to the Blaster and then 1 to Fire Drive to KO it. And then he also played Marksmanship that turn 2. So Hovercraft with Marksmanship was essentially a 1-shot stand dealt to the Blaster. 3 damage to the Blaster. And then Barrage is attacking with 6 bold 2. And definitely going to get there. Pushing this to a game 3. So very back and forth match. I like this match so far. Definitely not one-sided. So it's interesting to see the strengths here. But remember, so Vin went first game 1, and then game 2 John also decided to have Vin go first again, so Palmer wouldn't get attacked down with 2 characters. And I say get attacked down because, again, with 3 characters that Palmer has versus the four that Vin has, Palmer's characters would all be tapped down before Vin, and then Vin would actually have 2 untapped characters to be able to attack with, giving him a lot more momentum going into the wheel turn. So, but Palmer ends up starting this game. Vin gets to decide who goes first, and he has Palmer go first, so we're gonna see that double attack happen here, and he's going to. Looks like he forgot to draw the card, but they're gonna go back a little bit and let him draw the card, and Fire Drive is going to be attacked by Fire Drive. Fire Drive on Fire Drive crime. All right. Let's see how Vin decides to go about his turn. No Peace Through Tyranny plays these past 2 games, so it's another thing to keep in mind. Just because you have Peace Through Tyranny, not saying they did in their hands, but even then, if you do have Peace Through Tyranny in your hand, it's not always ideal to just use it. I think cars are the ones that are able to utilize it in early situations more than any other deck because of their untap effects, but I was spoke way too soon. Clearly way too soon. So we got a flip a Blaster here, deploying out Ramhorn and able to play the top card of your deck. So you play the top card of your deck, and it is a Peace of Tyranny. So Vin has his work cut out for him in terms of brain power he has to use to understand if he wants to use this Press the Event or this Peace to Tyranny this turn or not. Again, I've said it multiple times, but I will say it again. Peace to Tyranny, you have to play it off of Blaster's effect, but you don't have to KO your character. It says you may KO one of your characters that are 6 stars or higher. So still play the card, still in play, but other than that, yeah. So then it's running some math here. What Vin needs to be careful of here is if he doesn't kill Palmer's fire drive next turn, if Palmer happens to have Peace through Tyranny, he actually would have a solid play, because he could potentially send in one of his characters to kill whatever character Vin is going to send in right now. And then if he does, then Optimus or whoever would be able to also get a free attack, big ranged attack on the blaster. So I'm wondering if Vin is thinking about actually trying to kill Palmer's Fireflight this turn. So we'll see what ends up happening. All right. So we got a confidence, pits, and 2 cards. So okay, wow. So he actually does have another Piece to Tyranny, and he decides not to use it, which isn't always, again, ideal to play the card. So getting rid of a Piece to Tyranny and a treasure hunt. So let's see what he ends up deciding to do. He got the fire drive, draws a card, and attacking into the opponent's fire drive for a decent amount of damage, but not a KO. Matrix Leadership, not the greatest in orange matchups, but he has it, so it does give a +1 attack to all the other characters, and Pierce 1. So Optimus himself will get +1 static from the Matrix. We have a secret action set. Wonder what that could be. I'm gonna go with Infiltrate. I saw one in his scrap pile earlier, or from his flips, Palmer. And again, he's attacking with. He has to slow roller here. He's playing and attacking with. Barrage in alt mode because it has 1 more armor. So all right. So Vin is probably anticipating that is Infiltrate set. One of the other things about playing against a teammate, a lot of times you know what your teammate is running because clearly you guys have been testing against each other. So Vin will probably be careful about playing an action this turn. Potentially could test playing a press the advantage, but I doubt that he's going to take that gamble. Because remember, a way to get around the secret actions, once they're set, during your opponent's next end phase, they get scrapped. So you set an Infiltrate. When your opponent goes, after they end their turn, your Infiltrate gets scrapped. You don't get to keep it set there for turns on turns on turns until they finally activate a blue action. Yeah, Vin is definitely being very careful of playing action this turn. Could either not play an action, or you could play a no icon card like one shot stand, one shot fall, or you could play a white icon card, or even a blue icon, action card. It doesn't look like it's dire that he plays a weapon this turn, or an action rather. What this does though is help the Barrage have a lot more survivability this game. So, yeah. All right, and I'm sure there was Infiltrate that was scrapped since it's scrapped at the end of your opponent's turn. Palmer draws for turn. See what he comes up with. Okay. Flipping Optimus to bot mode, so that will turn off the tough 1 for all the other characters, but it does give him bold and tough 1. So he'll have bold and tough 1, got a plasma burst on to Ramhorn then, who also can still use that ability to play a white armor. And also keep in mind, it says when this defends, talking about Ramhorn, you may play a white armor. So you don't have to play it on Ramhorn. You can play it on one of your other characters. So let's say your Ramhorn has only 4 damage left on it. Clearly Force Field is not going to help him. You can also just put that on Blaster, which doesn't use your upgrade for the turn, which is very nice. Alright, so General Optimus is going to go in with 7 attack. Alright. Alright. So trade an improvised shield for press the advantage. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Now you can see how the math works out if you didn't understand the visual for that picture I painted earlier. So Blaster and Steeljaw will both be able to get 2 attacks on Palmer's characters. So if Vin can get enough damage on here to KO a character and severely damage another one, that'll put Vin in a great position for the rest of the game. Alright, so we're going to flip Blaster, deploy Steeljaw, play a great card to play off top of the deck, plays Field Communicator. So playing the Field Communicator allowed him to flip another card off top of his deck via Field Communicator, and he hit an Erratic Lightning. 2 great cards to flip. That was a very cool combo turn right there so far. And he still has his action to play for the turn. He already transformed, but he still has his action to play, so... Well, alright. It's pretty good. Reckless Charge. Coming in for some big numbers. Reckless Charge on the Blaster. And he's debating on how hard he's going to have to go into one character. Probably have to sink both attacks into one character. And of course, Optimus is the best character for that deck, so... So play the Reckless Charge, still trying to figure out who he wants to attack. At base, the Blaster has 10, 14 attack. 14, 15, make that 15 attack. So every damage counts. We got Focus 1 from the Optimus. Look at the top card of your deck, you may scrap it. And then he has Tough 1 with the Reflex Circuits. Then unfortunately, the extra damage from the Circuits isn't helping because the Blaster is a specialist, not melee. But he still got there anyway. Yeah, that was a pretty sizable attack. 15 plus the flips. The Steeljaw, don't forget that the Steeljaw gives bold 1 to all of your 10-star or higher characters. Speaking of, by the way, I want to revisit my Runabout, Runamuck deck with Steeljaw because they're both level 10, 10-star cards. So the bold 1 will spread to both of them, which is cool. But anyway, okay, so Steeljaw attacks with his bold 1 into... the opponent's fire drive, Palmer's fire drive, and then now we're left with Barrage versus the World. So staring down 3 characters again, direct damage is definitely going to be one of the ways to pull it through here. What's unfortunate though is like cards like Press the Advantage will definitely be very powerful for Vin next turn, seeing that he'll be able to get multiple attacks. But we'll see how Palmer tries to wiggle his way out of this one. All right. So Palmer is in a tough spot here. I don't even know if direct damage on any one bot will kill one and then he'll be able to attack and kill another one. It looks like he'll be able to kill Blaster this turn, but then he still has to worry about the little guys. Can't underestimate them. You know, Steeljaw is fully healed, has no damage on it at all. Oh, there's one shot stand. Okay, so that's what Palmer was kind of worried about. So he put the one shot stand on his Barrage. Would put to that 5 damage. He did kill the fire drive, but it turned into a weapon. So definitely gonna have to go after Barrage here, or not Barrage, Blaster this turn. He could potentially attack with Barrage in alt mode, but that might not be ideal. Might need to get that bold 1 with that 8 attack and get rid of Blaster, and just hope that Steeljaw doesn't get there next turn. I want to say that Vin did not ever use that Press the Advantage that he got a couple turns ago too, so I'm sure Palmer knows that and knows that it's coming. But we have Bastion Shield here, no armor to scrap, but it will help. And he's going to attack the Blaster with 6 attack, pitching 2 cards, so he has 8 attack and attacking the Blaster. So the blaster is in the... Okay, so that was actually a pretty big turn for him. Now, Barrage has 3 defense, but going to end up having 1 defense from that press the advantage that Vin has. So Steeljaw will be at 8 attack. Ooh, grenade launcher press. That's pretty strong. So 7-9 attack with bold 1. And he flipped 2 double oranges and a bashing shield. So 14. Going in that, wow, did he really get there by 1 again? No, well, not 1, a little bit more than 1, because the barrage has 8 damage on it, and that'll end up being the game. So good series of games from them. Vin ends up going to the top 8, and shout out to John Palmer. Vector Sigma did very well this weekend and ended up making it with his ranged Optimus. So that was an interesting match. As you can see, it looks like with the ranged Optimus deck, it seems like against a 4-wide deck, just like any other 4-wide deck, you most likely want to go second so they don't get 2 attacks. So be looking out for my final match to post from this series of games at Gen Con. And you guys have a great day and or a great night when you're catching this video. This is S. Akuma heading out. Peace.